Stop thinking that $1.50 tin of Woolies or Coles tuna is a healthy Aussie lunch hack. You're not buying a superfood, you're peeling back the lid on an industrial Trojan horse. Our investigation into 10 major brands reveals a grim reality. 7 of them are literal nutritional death in a can. We're talking a massive 610 mls of sodium, nearly a third of your daily limit, and a brutal double cook process that obliterates 28% of vital omega 3s before they even hit the shelf. That briny scent? It's often a chemical cocktail of 5 additives masking a texture like wet cardboard. From budget labels to premium Sirena, we're exposing the shipping distances, stripping nutrients, and the marketing lies hiding a total lack of accountability. If you walk away now, you're letting a corporate boardroom decide your family's health. Stay, and I'll give you a permanent consumer filter to spot the difference between real sustainable seafood and a salty, overprocessed industrial substitute. The data is unsettling. Let's dive in. We begin at the absolute bottom of the market, a place where price is the only metric that matters. IGA black and gold tuna sits on the lowest shelves, often ignored until the budget gets tight. But the value here is an illusion. When we look at the back of this tin, we don't just see fish. We see a chemical cocktail of 5 different additives: tuna, water, salt, vegetable broth, and a stabilizer. It is the most chemically complex option on this list, and it tastes like it. The data here is a warning bell for anyone over 40. The sodium levels in this single small tin soar to 610 mg per 100 green. That is the highest of any major brand in Australia, representing nearly a third of your entire recommended daily salt intake in one sitting. While you think you're getting a lean protein hit, the protein content is a disappointing 17 grams, well below the industry standard. Even worse, independent analysis shows a 28% loss in vital omega 3s like EPA and DHA compared to less processed brands. You aren't just buying cheap fish, you're buying a high-sodium filler that has been processed to within an inch of its life. There is zero transparency here. No way to know which ocean this fish came from or how it was caught. It is a total traceability failure. As we move through the aisles, we find Aldi's Ocean Rise tuna. It's a staple in thousands of Australian trolleys because it's incredibly cheap, working out to just over a cent per gram of protein. But there's a hidden inconsistency here that should make any shopper uneasy. Our research into label audits shows that the nutritional quality swings wildly from batch to batch. One tin might claim 19 grams of protein, but that number can fluctuate by as much as 15% depending on the packing date. The vital omega 3s are equally unpredictable, often dipping far below what a healthy adult needs. With sodium at 530 mg and a vague country of origin that covers entire hemispheres, you're essentially playing nutritional roulette. Greenpeace currently ranks Ocean Rise at number 6 on their danger list due to persistent gaps in transparency. If you can't be sure what's in the tin from one week to the next, is the saving of a few cents really worth it? I want to pause here and ask you something directly. Have you ever noticed that mushy texture in cheaper tuna, where it feels like the fish has been pre-chewed? I'd love to know if you've stopped buying certain brands because of that off texture. Share your experience in the comments. It's often the first sign of overprocessing. This brings us to a name every Australian knows: Green Seas. It's tucked into office drawers and kids' lunchboxes nationwide. But the familiar green label hides an industrial process designed for efficiency, not your heart health. Every can of Green Seas goes through a double cook process. The fish is cooked once before being put in the tin, and then again after it's sealed to ensure a multi-year shelf life. This double exposure to high heat is devastating for nutrition. It strips away roughly 25% of the original omega 3 content. You're losing a quarter of the reason you bought the fish in the first place. The numbers on the back tell a story of compromise: 590 milliliters of sodium and 4 separate additives. Despite the wholesome marketing, Green Seas sits at number 5 in Greenpeace's rankings for a reason. Traceability is almost non-existent. You're paying for a salty, overworked substitute for real seafood. And then there is the premium deception. Sirena tuna carries a higher price tag and a reputation for being the gourmet supermarket choice. But when you look at the data, the premium image starts to crack. Most Sirena tins are packed in oil. While this makes for a richer mouthfeel, it quietly drives the calorie count to levels that rival fast food. That oil also dilutes the protein, leaving you with only 19 grams per 100 green, while the price climbs to 2.5 cents per gram of protein. The real issue, however, is the journey. Most of this tuna is shipped over vast distances and stored for weeks before it reaches Australia. Studies show that omega-3 levels can drop by 22% during a typical 12-week freight journey. By the time you peel back that lid, the healthy fats are significantly depleted. Despite the price, Sirena's standard lines don't carry the Marine Stewardship Council (MSC) blue tick. You're paying more for more calories, less nutrition, and no independent guarantee of how that fish was caught. This is where we need to talk about the John West phenomenon. It is synonymous with canned tuna in Australia, yet popularity is not a proxy for quality. Like Green Seas, John West uses the double retort canning process, which strips away about 18% of the omega-3s. The ingredient list includes 3 additives, and the added salt drives sodium up to 540 mg. What's particularly concerning is the dilution. Many John West varieties are so heavily packed in oil or brine that the actual fish protein is diluted, pushing the real cost to about 2 cents per gram of protein. While they make fat-free claims, they don't carry the MSC blue tick on all their lines. For a brand that trades on national trust, the reality is a product designed for mass appeal and a long shelf life, not for nutritional integrity. But here is where the math stops making sense for the consumer. Let's look at Coles Smart Buy. It promises big savings for struggling families, but at what cost to your health? Each can delivers a staggering 580 milliliters of sodium. If you're managing blood pressure, this single tin is a significant setback. The sustainability story is equally murky. According to Greenpeace, Coles's private label only meets 64% of sustainability criteria. There are major gaps in accountability. For shoppers who think a low price means a simple, honest product, the reality of Smart Buy is anything but clear. It's a low-cost entry point into a system that prioritizes volume over value. Finally, we have Woolworths Essentials Tuna. It is the cheapest tin you will find in Australia. But look closer at the ingredients: skipjack tuna, sunflower oil, water, and salt. That oil makes up nearly a quarter of the contents. You aren't just buying fish, you're buying a pool of cheap vegetable oil that dilutes the protein and adds unnecessary fat. Sodium sits at 203 mg, which looks lower than others, but with zero traceability and a yellow rating from Greenpeace, you have no way of knowing how or where this fish was caught. For families grabbing this on autopilot, the low price comes at the expense of environmental responsibility and nutritional integrity. Here is the twist that most people never realize. The problem isn't just one bad brand, it's the entire global tuna machine. We've been conditioned to think of canned tuna as a fresh product captured in time. In reality, it's a logistics commodity. The reason these 7 brands fail isn't necessarily because they want to sell you bad fish. It's because the system they use, industrial purse-seine netting, double cooking for shelf life, and long-haul shipping, is designed to minimize cost and maximize stability. But stability in the food industry is often a code word for nutritional death. When you cook a fish twice and ship it across the ocean for 3 months, the omega-3s, the delicate long-chain fatty acids that your brain and heart crave, simply break down. The high sodium isn't just for flavor, it's a preservative to mask the loss of natural texture. The system is trading your long-term health for a $1.20 price point. But the tide is starting to turn. As we move into the safe list, you'll notice a shift from industrial efficiency to transparency. SPC tuna is the first real step up for Australians who want a more honest product. You'll notice the difference the moment you open the tin. The texture is firm, not mushy, because they use a gentler processing method. There are no heavy oils and no complicated chemical cocktails, just skipjack, water, a tiny bit of salt, and an acidity regulator. This simplicity keeps the sodium down to 250 milliliter, less than half of what you'll find in the budget brands. You're getting a solid 22 grams of protein and 450 micrograms of omega-3s. SPC is more transparent, disclosing catch methods and regions on their packaging. At 5.4 cents per gram of protein, it's more expensive, but you're actually getting what you pay for, real fish, not a salty science project. If you want even more certainty, you look for Safcol. They stand apart for one reason: independent verification. Every can in their MSC-certified line carries the blue tick, but they go further. There is a QR code on the label. You can scan it and see the name of the actual boat that caught your fish. That level of traceability is incredibly rare. Inside the can, Safcol keeps it clean. Their spring water variety has no oils and no brine. Sodium is among the lowest at 220 milliliter, and the protein is strong at 23 grams. Because they pack the fish rapidly after the catch, the omega-3 levels stay high, around 560 micrograms. Greenpeace gives them a 71% rating, the highest verified score among major supermarket brands. It's the choice for people who want proof, not just promises. But there is one brand that goes even further, stripping away every unnecessary element until only the nutrients remain. Little Tuna is redefining the category. Each tin contains exactly 2 ingredients: pole and line caught skipjack and spring water. That's it. No added salt, no oils, no preservatives. This results in a sodium level of just 180 milliliters, the lowest on the Australian market. The protein is a massive 25 grams, and the omega-3 content reaches 620 micrograms, which actually rivals some fresh fish. They use pole and line fishing, which avoids the ecological destruction of industrial nets. Their internal audits score a staggering 92% for ethics and environment. While it costs about 5.4 cents per gram of protein, you aren't paying for fillers or oil. You are buying the cleanest, most nutrient-dense tuna available in this country. After looking at the data across all 10 brands, a clear and troubling pattern emerges. Most of the canned tuna sold in Australia is not a health food. It is an engineered industrial product. The double cook process, the excessive sodium used to mask texture loss, and the lack of traceability in budget brands are all symptoms of a system that prioritizes the long shelf over the long life of the consumer. The gap between a brand like IGA Black and Gold and a brand like Little Tuna isn't just a few cents. It's a fundamental difference in what you are putting into your body. One is a sodium-heavy filler with depleted nutrients. The other is a genuine source of heart-healthy protein and oils. When you stand in the supermarket aisle next time, I want you to use these 3 principles. First, the ingredient rule. If there are more than 3 ingredients, put it back. You want fish, water, and perhaps a touch of salt, nothing else. Second, the sodium ceiling. Look for brands under 250 milliliters of sodium per 100 green. Anything higher is masking the quality of the fish and putting unnecessary strain on your heart. Third, the traceability test. If there is no MSC blue tick or vessel tracking, you are buying a mystery. In 2024, there is no excuse for a brand not to know where its fish came from. Knowledge is your only real protection in a market designed to confuse you. By choosing brands like Safcol or Little Tuna, you aren't just eating better, you're sending a direct signal to the industry that Australians value quality over cheap, salty substitutes. If you found this investigation helpful, please hit the like button and share it with someone who relies on canned tuna for their meal prep. It helps us continue to bring these deep dives to you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more evidence-based breakdowns of the products you use every day. Your health is worth the extra 30 seconds it takes to read a label. See you in the next investigation. The content in this video is based on my personal experience, taste, and opinions at the time of filming. Food quality may vary depending on batches, timing, or specific locations. This video is for reference purposes only and is not intended to disparage any brand or individual. Viewers are encouraged to try it themselves and form their own opinions.